This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. Even those who are not interested in biblical prophecy begin to realize that this world, as we know it, will not be able to survive much longer. Scientists moved their doomsday clock to 2 minutes to midnight, meaning midnight designating a global catastrophe and potentially the end of mankind. Among the many threats to human survival, nuclear war and a bioengineered pandemic are listed as leading candidates. The growing threat to wildlife and millions of species is mentioned as well. We also hear about the real possibility of huge earthquakes striking many parts of the world, accompanied by tremendous tsunamis. The eruption of the supervolcano in the Yellowstone National Park, with horrible consequences for large parts of continental America, is also considered to be a real possibility. Even a devastating collision of the Earth with a huge asteroid must not be dismissed outright, because these things have happened in the past. Now, many times people have thought that the end of the world was near. Why do we feel today is any different? Because Christ hasn't returned yet. But let me make one thing perfectly clear. The return of Jesus Christ is the only hope for this dying world and the survival of mankind. Otherwise, we all would be doomed. If Christ was not to return in our lifetime, the Bible tells us no human being, no animal would survive. Now, we have prepared a free booklet. How can we know that Christ's return is near? How can we know, in light of the fact that so many times people have thought Christ would come back in their lifetime and he didn't? How can we know that today it's different? I'd like to give you a few excerpts from this booklet. It goes into many different things which are happening in this world today, proving to us that the return of Christ is near. But we write in our booklet, weapons of mass destruction, which are capable of eradicating all human life, are available now. We observe that especially the United Kingdom and the United States, as well as the state of Israel, are becoming more and more isolated on the world scene, preparing a way for a most devastating war against them. America is hated more than ever before. The alienation between Great Britain and the EU is continuing. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. The Bible shows that at the beginning of the Great Tribulation, a European power bloc will attack, occupy, and destroy the United States of America, Great Britain, and the state of Israel in a coming nuclear world war. My friends, let me tell you, the signs are already there. Europe is forming. The alienation between Europe and America and Great Britain and Israel is continuing. We say later in this booklet, there currently still exists a superficial final alliance between Germany and the state of Israel, the United States and Great Britain. However, recent events have shaken that alliance considerably, at least between Europe and the United States and the UK, mostly due to the controversial leadership of President Donald Trump and the Brexit disaster between the UK and the EU. And then we'll talk about a very charismatic figure, a political military figure who is going to arise on the world scene, called the Beast. And we say in here that the beast will be deeply anti-Semitic anti-American, and anti-British. And then we say that the next major development will be the revelation and manifestation of the beast. He is also, by the way, called King Jareb of Assyria. At the same time that 10 European nations or groups of nations will unite powerfully, economically, politically, and militarily. Very shortly thereafter, the European power bloc will attack the United States of America and Great Britain, and the newly created unified European army will invade the Middle East and Jerusalem to suppress the daily sacrifices and to occupy the Third Temple. Yes, you have heard correctly. The Jews will begin daily sacrifices, and they will build a Third Temple. The Bible makes this very clear. We have been preaching this, announcing this, proclaiming this, at least since 1967, maybe even prior to that. I want to read briefly from an article which was published in 1967, saying this: "There will be very soon a temple in Jerusalem, with daily sacrifices once again being offered. But the ruler of the soon coming resurrected Holy Roman Empire, a political military union of 10 European nations, will stop the daily sacrifices and profane the holy place in the temple. Jerusalem will be surrounded and captured by the armies of the European Empire. They will invade Jerusalem and take charge of the temple." Many don't believe this, that a third temple will actually be built in Jerusalem on the Temple Mount. But you know, they are already in preparation. The Sanhedrin wrote, and we quote again from our booklet, they wrote a letter in November of 2016 to US President Donald Trump after he won the election, calling on him to take a role in building the Third Temple, just as Persian King Cyrus helped the Jews build the Second Temple after the Babylonian exile in the 6th century BC. I have here a coin which was created. On the one side, we see the Third Temple. On the other side, we see President Trump and King Cyrus. It's very interesting. This coin shows a lot about what is going on in Jerusalem. My friends, this booklet, How Can We Know That Christ's Return is Near, goes into these aspects in much more detail, of course, and also it's addressing a lot of other very important aspects which we need to be aware of, proving to us that Christ's return is near. It goes into the Great Tribulation, it goes into the false prophets, the falling away, the temple, the animal sacrifices, the last revival of the ancient Holy Roman Empire, Great Britain, continental Europe in prophecy, the beast identified, the false prophet identified, Europe and Arab nations, and finally the kings of the East, the Far Eastern power bloc. All of this and much more you can read in our free booklet, and I encourage you strongly to ask for a free copy, because this booklet will prove to you, as no other booklet will, that Jesus Christ's return is very near. And now please stay tuned for this very important announcement.
For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. What are the signs of Christ's return? What warnings do we need to heed? How can we prepare? How can we know that Christ's return is near? To request a free copy of this booklet, please go to eternalgod.org. Standing Watch is a presentation by the Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.